I've managed to spend my entire life not getting particularly good at any one thing. I am a little bit good at a lot of different things, but I can't say I've ever put my nose to the grindstone and stuck it out with something, be it a certain game or a genre of games, making music or playing one particular instrument, making games or learning a specific game engine. There aren't a lot of things, there might not be any one thing, that I've put in thousands of hours perfecting. If any of this sounds familiar to you, you're not alone. I think that true specialists, be it career or creative, are becoming far and few between. And I find this a bit sad. I love the idea of being exceptional at something, at having put in the work to truly become a master at my craft. But in practice, the idea of investing so heavily in one thing fills me with a fear of missing out on everything else. If I grind FPS games to the point where I might actually make it professionally, where will that leave me in terms of creative fulfillment? If I go hard in on music, will I ever make a video game? I often find that when I am engaging in one activity, the alternatives feel more appealing. I have never been so inspired to write as I am when driving to work in the morning. It's like my brain knows that I don't have to face the difficulty of the task and can just imagine the silver lining. But when I'm not working, I am remarkably uninspired most of the time. I will occasionally have a period of a few weeks or months where I am locked in on one line, recording music, doing game dev, playing Halo, but these periods are most often followed by a slog of depression, complete disillusionment and disinterest in the task that once filled me with wonder. I have come to the conclusion that I am addicted to novelty, that once a task becomes routine, it loses its allure for me. How then am I supposed to get anything done? The closest thing I've found to a solution is to take smaller bites. I don't have to be in my hiking era to go on a hike. If I want to write, I can write a poem or a short essay within the hour, or record a song in one day. As soon as projects begin to span across multiple days working on one dimension, it becomes much less about enjoying the process and more forcing myself to finish. And pure willpower is not my strongest asset. This held true in editing my last video. I've never done a project where I had to procure so many clips and images, and what I thought would be a one-day project ended up being a week of afternoons. So what should I do to combat this feeling? All I can really suggest is to follow your interest. But barring that, remember that action precedes motivation. If I have a certain project that is appealing to me in the moment, great, that makes it easy. The vast majority of the time, that is not the case. One tool I use to get around a volition is a wheel of 30-minute fortune. I have compiled a list of tasks that I know fulfill me creatively, and if I cannot make myself do anything when I get home from work, I spin the wheel. I start a 30-minute timer and work on the task it landed on. If I'm tired of it after 30 minutes, I can spin the wheel again. This is a low-stakes entry point that prevents the fear response that often results from the mental image of working on an open-ended project while already exhausted. More often than not, I end up getting motivated as a function of working on the thing, and once the 30 minutes is up, I want to keep going. If I am planning on returning to a project, one thing that makes it more likely is to stop working while I am still motivated to work on it. This produces a cliffhanger effect, where I wake up the next day excited to see where it goes, and I will often spend the entire workday brainstorming. By the time I sit down at my desk when I get home, I am itching to get started and make a large portion of progress rather quickly. When I imagine who I will be 5, 10, 20 years down the line, who I want to be, yes, I want to be truly exceptional at something. But more than that, I want to be comfortable in my own skin, content, at least to some degree, with my life. Barring perfection, I would at least like to be creating music, writing, and multimedia projects as a regular feature of my life. I believe that this desire, this feeling of obligation to specialize, is a function of the black and white thinking that my mental illness provokes. The answer is not to specialize, but to learn what processes will enable you to create things in the way that you were meant to. I am physically compelled to create. It is just who I am, and I will always find a way to engage this mechanism regardless of any barriers, biological or mental, that might be placed before me. I have tried many forms of treatment for what ails me, but I have found that creation is the only true antidote. This may not be the case for you, but if it is, I hope you found something useful here. Thank you for watching.